fuck is up, boys and girls? It's Nico in Paris here. Feeling pretty on top of the world at the moment. You know, coming off of a pretty big win against Owen. You know, Owen's not the biggest competition necessarily this year in the league. However, he put up, I think, the third or fourth most highest points this week. So, you know, was very much so stressing it there at Tanner's on Monday night with his ass and Shahid just running every route so deep into the end zone. Thank God Derek Carr on my bench. Sucks balls. Couldn't give him some better passes because he definitely had 3 or 4 opportunities to take a 5, 10, 15 point lead on me for sure there with Rashid. So, you know, it's a good win. Kind of getting into it, 173.68 to 159.02. So didn't end up being as close as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like within 3 or 4 points. But again, Rashid just dropping a bunch of passes. Derek Carr not being able to really give him an opportunity to catch a pass or two. And that Monday night game was pretty brutal to watch on Owen's side, but just everything I wanted to see on my end. So gotta get these fucking noisy ass things off me now. Yeah. But still coming out with a dub. Now we're 2-3. We're kind of back on track there. We made a trade with Alex, and we happen to be the number 1 and number 2 highest points scored this past week. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. But we had a lot of people produce. The only real one that was kind of a dud was Allen. We got 3.3, but that Jets team just looked shitty. So kind of just running through the line here as we always do. Danny Dimes, 22.08. Baker, 23.40. I mean, that's just phenomenal. Baker is, I think, 2 or 3 in the league right now. And he deserves all of it because he is just absolutely giving his offense a definite shot here in winning every single game. He's giving them yards. He's giving them touches. He's giving them, like, good touches, end zone touches, things like that. So, you know, can't complain with 20-plus from QBs, especially with my QBs this year being Derek Carr, Danny Dimes, Tua, and Baker Mayfield. So, you know, you take a year or two, you know, you look back a year or two, and that would be just an insane lineup of quarterbacks in just a terrible, terrible way, you know, scoring 8 points apiece. This year, we found some studs in Baker. He's pretty consistent. Danny Dimes has been rising up to the occasion. Derek Carr had us early in the season. Didn't really use him a lot, but, you know, need that going on. And then hopefully we can hear some good news from Tua. We need him back as well. Badly, honestly, because I don't know how long Danny Dimes can keep up, to be honest with you. He's playing well now, but, you know, if we have a couple more games without Neighbors, then I might be fucked. Even more than I already am. Again, top, my first drafted quarterback, my third drafted quarterback, my number 1 overall in the entire draft, running back, and the consensus number 1, and the number 2, number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever you want to call them, wide receiver in the league through 5-6 weeks, all on the IR. You know, it's kind of hard. My first and second round draft pick have found the IR this season, and we're only in week 5, going into week 6. So rough, really, really rough. Honestly, for me, I'm surprised I'm 2-3. I'm surprised that I've scored as much points as I have without the players, you know, in the lineups. So, you know, I think we're 4th on the list of highest scores, maybe 5th on the list of highest scoring teams this year. You know, you look at Jackson, and he really did get butt fucked so far this year in points against. But then I think I'm a close second or a close third there. So, you know, I'm having people score some points, but luckily I'm scoring some points as well and not doing terribly too bad. I think my lowest one was 119, and that was a terrible, terrible, terrible week for pretty much everybody all the way around. So hopefully we don't do that again. But, you know, if we can get to minimum like 140, 145, ideally we want to be hitting 150 every week. I think we put ourselves in a really good spot to produce some wins there for us. So kind of going down, we've already talked about Allen and Hubbard. Allen's 3.3, Hubbard at 15.5. I think he's really only got a week, maybe 2 weeks left. So that 4-week trade might come to fuck me, week 8. But I think for the next week and potentially this week and next week, I think we should potentially be okay. Nico, 14.8, Evans, 20.7, Brian Thomas Jr., 20.7, fucking phenomenal. That's what we need to see, especially if Nico's going out. We need to see Evans and Brian Thomas and some other guys really produce. We've got a 4-week trader, so, Brandon Ayuk's coming back, hopefully at some point here in the next couple of weeks. Alex, I'm keeping you to your fucking word. But yeah, Nico going on the IR is just a huge blow at the wrong time for me, honestly. I mean, we spent a lot of draft capital there at the wide receiver position. We've traded one away as like a interim trade, 4-weeker. And then we've had, Tua go out, so Waddle isn't doing anything worth production. Nico's now on the IR. Keon Coleman, I dropped a little earlier in the year. I think, he had one of his best weeks ever last week, and that was still one catch for like 56 yards and a touchdown. So struggle busting hardcore right now. But if we can get it to 3-3, holy shit, that'd be insane. I don't know how likely it is. I think this week's going to be a pretty low scoring week for me, honestly. I don't have a whole lot of hope. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a pretty decent matchup against some of us here this week, and it's going to really, I think it's going to really tell the tale of how the season's going to end with this week and next week, and kind of how teams produce. So Pat Freiermuth 7.7. He was at 9.7. Last play of the game, they do those dumbass laterals. He's the final person to touch the ball, so he gets credited with the lateral fumble. And so that's rough. Not that we needed the points, but 175 sounds a hell of a lot better than 173. And 9.7 sounds a hell of a lot better out of a tight end than 7.7. So can't complain too much. I'm pretty sure 7.7 is nearly doubling what I've had through the first 4 weeks of the year. So, really, really happy with that pickup. Needed it badly. Got Atwell at 9.5. Flex guy. Him and Jacoby Myers will be flex guys. I think I've already dropped Atwell. I think with Cooper Kupp and potentially Nico'S coming back week 7 and then week 8, with them having a bye this week 6, I just don't see a reason for me to have a potential second or third option on a really bad offense, especially if you're not going to be getting all those targets. If either one of them come back, they are going to be the main guy there. And usually when they only have one of their main guys, it's just funneled to that guy like 67% of the time. So not terribly too excited about Atwell. We got Jacoby Myers. Hopefully some good news about old man Adams, out there in Vegas. Potentially not going to be on the team any longer, but, Jacoby Myers and I think it's like Trey Tucker or something like that, or Trenton Tucker, kind of the only two guys there, and I at least know who the fuck, Myers is, so we're going to go ahead and kind of keep him as a flex option. I think technically if I could have played Myers instead of Atwell, I would have had like another 1.5 points or something like that, but fuck it, who gives a shit? We won it anyways. Jets 16, Siebert 10, and Dixon 10. Again, punter, still top 2, top 3. Siebert, if he didn't miss week 1 and he just averaged, even if he only got 7 points, like his lowest amount of points I think this season is 9. So if he got the lowest amount he's ever gotten this season, which would have been 9, I think he's kicker 1. I think right now he's like kicker 6. So 22-9. I think he had a 10 and 11, and then another 10 in there as well. So really happy with that production. Jets producing as well at 16. We're looking at 36 points out of those 3 players. That's an average of 12. We're looking for 40 points out of those players, ideally, like in a best case scenario. And so being just a few points off, again, 2 weeks in a row, not mad about it at all. Owen, he put up a hell of a fight. He didn't have anybody like really fucking go off, but he just had a lot of consistent two-digit numbers here for a lot of his players. Love, 15.96, Purdy, 13.06, Jacobs, 15.9, Cook, 16.9, Flowers, 15.5, Godwin, 9.1, Shaheed, 16.6, Kincaid, 4.4, not great. Williams, 13.6, best game of his season so far. Denver at 19, that's hard to compete. When I saw that, I knew I needed a lot, especially after this next guy, Mr. Koo, also got him 16. So Ariza getting 3 was a big help. Kincaid getting 4.5, 4.4. Keeping Rashid, honestly, at 16.6 was huge. He could have had a 25-plus game easy of just a few of those throws were a little bit better. And Godwin struggle busting a little bit. Owen thinks that Godwin is a number 3 wide receiver overall. Good luck trading with him if those things are happening still. But, Godwin's slipping a little bit. He's getting the targets, but in the big games, when it matters, I think he's only got 2, maybe 3 touchdowns total through 5 weeks. So compared to Mike Evans, who's got 5 or 6. So just Godwin's getting the touches, getting the targets, getting the catches. Evans is getting the yards, and he's also getting a good portion of the touchdown looks. So can't be mad. And again, 159.02. Really fought pretty hard that week. I was stressing my ass off in Tanner's, like I said. And then kind of going in last week, we had me versus Owen. Of course, I won. Mikey versus Garvey. Garvey won. Lowe versus Alex. Alex won. Jesse versus Parker. Jesse won. Jackson versus Ryan. And a nail biter coming down to Monday night. It did end up being Ryan there as well. I think the only one who had a shot was Mikey for his Mr. Groupie kicker, who I was like fucking talking up at Tanner's too. I was like, no worries, man. He's gonna get like 2 or 3 50-yarders, and he's gonna drill him right down the cock, and that just never happened. They didn't even give him a chance, really. I think he had one where he missed a extra point. I don't even know if he got a field goal attempt there on Monday night. So love to see it by the Chiefs, but at the same time, that's a little rough for the guy who's been on a pretty hot streak right now. Looking towards this next week, we've got me versus Jackson. We've got Mikey versus Lowe. We've got Jesse versus Owen, Alex versus Garvey, and Ryan versus Parker. Now, taking a look at everybody's teams, and I think it's going to be a close one between Ryan and Parker for lowest score, and I think Parker's going to squeak that one out. Alex versus Garvey. I think Garvey's team is far and away the best team so far if he would have kept everybody healthy. Rice is gone for season. That's a huge blow. I think he's also got another guy on IR or potentially out. So in this one, I'm giving it to Alex as his tight squeeze buy, but can really see Garvey pulling out another 170 plus type week. So wouldn't be shocked either or. Hopefully we can see some players on Alex's team do well that I might be getting back. But again, I'm getting them back, Alex. And then Jesse versus Owen. I've got Jesse in this one just because Owen's team, he thinks it's a god team in his small little peanut brain. That's why he's not trading with anybody, because everybody on his team is just wide receiver number 1, RB1, duh. Honestly, our trade the other night was just for some bench players, just a little bit of a depth option. I don't even know if either one of those guys would ever even made it into a lineup, but We all know how that kind of went. Mikey versus Lowe. We've got Lowe in this one. I think Lowe's gonna pull it out. He can no longer say he's got his C or D team in any longer. He's got everybody back besides potentially Mixon. And with that being said, I think Lowe's potentially gonna win this league. And we all know who you can thank for that, Lowe. That is your butt brother in Christ, Jackson Mealman, who raped his little booty hole himself with your cock, then put it right into his mouth to suck it off afterwards as well with that trade earlier in the season. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not going to try to touch terribly too much on what happened this week, in the group chat. But, I think at some point you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, was I the one, or was the 9 other people who have no effect on my team, were they the one that fucked me over? So, I'm going to try to get away from that one as quickly as possible. And then we've got me and Jackson. I got to go with myself. Jackson's in between a hard place and a rock at the moment, and we'll see what he can do. Again, like I said, I don't have a lot of confidence in my team this week, but if we ever needed to win, it was this week. 3-3 would be electric. We could potentially pass Parker. If he loses, we could potentially pass nobody else, actually. Never mind. But we could potentially pass Parker. We could be up there with Alex. It would be, Lowe. It would be Garby. It would be Mikey and Jesse, me and Alex, kind of all, fighting for that 4, 5, and 6 spot. So I'm happy with a 6th spot here this year. After what I've gone through, I think far and away there have been some people in the league, again, such as Jackson, who have just faced literally like some of the highest scorers ever. Through like 5 weeks, he's got like 800 plus points scored on him. So I do feel for the man. He's kind of getting fucked, but I pretty much started with draft pick 21 this year. And then even then you got to take out my number 1 drafted quarterback and my number 3 drafted quarterback. So I'm just playing a lot with the waivers. I probably will have a record for waiver claims this year. I think I picked up 2, 3, 4 people every single week. So, we just got a revolving door down there on the bench. But, best of luck to everybody. That's kind of my outlook on everything. Thinking about changing Nico'S in Paris. Don't know what the fuck I would change it to. I don't even know, to be honest with you, what we would change it to. We don't really have anything good. I could probably do a little play on words with, Dixon and maybe Baker or Danny. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see who produces this week, and we might have to just name the team after that. So that's a wrap for me, boys. Peace out.